Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley and Citibank and so on. And they're not taking bets at 1 to 1. They're doing it at 5 or 10 to 1. And so you don't need a tremendous amount of money to go exponential on that. So if you're going at 10 to 1, you need $270 billion, and they got it. The government gave it to them. They're taxpayer money. Some of it's been given back, yes. And but the idea that they had it for 6 months was ridiculous. And they didn't need that money any more than the man in the moon. And many bankers said they didn't want it, but the government insisted, and the government wanted them to go in and gamble in the market and drive the market up, and that's what it was all about. So the whole rally, this bear market rally, is very similar to 1930 when they did the same thing. And they did the same thing again in 1932. And so you don't get caught in these things. Sure, you stay out, and you might lose a lot of money by not playing in the game, but, who wants to take those kind of risks? I don't. And I've been doing this for 50 years. I worked in Wall Street for 28 years. I own my own firm. So I think, I know what I'm talking about. And so with that said, the comments by Mike are correct. And, there's a number of other facets in that market today, and that is the rigging of the market by the Fed and the major players. A few weeks ago, it was uncovered that they were doing flash trades. Well, they used that term because it's called front-running, and they didn't want people to know what front-running was. And so Goldman, the main perpetrator, was front-running everybody's trades and essentially stealing from them. And that's what that is. And not only the public, but also the other professionals. There's about 15 or 16 firms that have this edge created by the New York Stock Exchange, whereby they can set their computers close to the New York Stock Exchange computer and beat everybody else by nanoseconds by using certain programs using algorithms. And so they got caught doing it. Now the world knows that they did it. And they're still doing it. And the New York Stock Exchange says they need liquidity. That's an excuse to make more money for them. In fact, they're even paying firms to go in and make markets in stocks, like giving them a quarter of a penny for each trade that they make, which is absurd. And as far as I'm concerned, it's against the rules that are been created. But the things that are going on today have never gone on before. The crime and criminality in banking on Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, is beyond belief. They just don't care. And it's the same thing with this swine flu thing. They just don't care.
Well, that's something I wanted to touch base with you on from the bottom of the hour when we were discussing it. And one, I want to say that the International Forecaster Report, the information that you give out is some excellent information. I urge everyone to go to your website and subscribe to that. That is some excellent information. But we've got about 6 minutes left in this interview. I wanted to ask you, here we've got the Illuminati, the ones that are really in the power, are imploding our economy. The peasants are rising up a little bit, and now we're on the verge of the swine flu, which seems awful coincidental, and I would like to get your opinions on that.
Well, again, it's a planned event. I'm only guessing, mind you, but what I'm guessing is that, first of all, there's things within the shots which are dreadful, squalene and mercury and on and on. But it's my guess that what they're going to do here is use this as a trial run. Same thing with a banking holiday, and I think we'll have one of those soon. And the trial run will involve these shots, and they will sprinkle shots that do have live swine flu in different parts of the country, and so that people will get the flu to justify the giving of the inoculations, if for no other reason to justify the fact that, well, look, there are some cases, and now everybody's safe because they've had the shots. Of course, this is a giant moneymaker for drug companies. Drug companies are owned by the Illuminati, and that's really the reason for that. But not only that, but to get more control over the people. And so it's a planned event. I think it's a trial, and I think the next one will be real. and they're getting people in place for this. And I think they might incarcerate people who refuse to take the shots. And at the same time, you're going to see a collapse of the dollar down to 71.18 on the USDX. And that's the old blow on it. And I think that that's coming by the end of October and at least by the end of the year. And but I rather think the shorter term. And it will be accompanied by this wild inoculation of people and this pressure on the financial system, particularly people accepting dollars outside the country. I think if you look back a year and a half, you'll see that what they did outside the country was refuse to take the dollar. I think they're going to do it in a bigger way this time. And so that would give the excuse to government to call a bank holiday. And again, I'm backing into this, I'm guesstimating, but I've been pretty right in doing this. And that bank holiday would be very quick, and that would be perhaps from Thursday night to Tuesday morning, that sort of thing, just to give people a test of what can happen, and let's see what their reaction is. It's a beta test, just like this swine flu inoculation thing. And you always got to remember, when the Illuminists do something, they have several reasons for doing it. It's all coordinated. They have people working 24/7 all over the world who are dreaming up all this stuff to bring about their goal of world government. And so that's why we talk so much about that in the Forecaster. And incidentally, the internationalforecaster.com, you can get a free introductory copy by going there, or you can call for one. And the reason I give out this phone number is because a lot of people who are listening to the program don't have a computer. So the toll-free number to get a free copy, and we do put out a hard copy as well as an email copy, is 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188. So in covering this, we prepare people for what might happen. And, you know, you're not going to get hurt doing the things that I recommend. They're normal things that could be done in normal times. And if things get nasty, then you've got food. You can get some water that's pure. You can defend your family if things become nasty. And so you're ready. You've got gold and silver coins and maybe even shares. Your money's going to be safe.
Well, I certainly do enjoy reading it each week, and we have several listeners that email us that you are one of their favorite guests because of the information that you give. And I would just like to, one, thank you for being our guest each month, and two, thank you for all of the work that you do, Mr. Chapman. I mean, you really do a great work for the truth and for the truth movement. So we've got about 2 minutes left if there's anything else you'd like to add, and we appreciate you being our guest on Real News today.
Well, I would like to tell people I think it's about time to get out of the stock market if you're in there. It's gone way over where it should have gone. And that's going, well, in the summer it's on low volume. Low volume is very tricky. You know, it goes up a few hundred points in a Dow, and it can get down 500 points the next day. Cash value life insurance policies and annuities, they're in the market with that money. If the market goes back down to 6,600, the value of your policies and annuities, even your pension plan, are going to drop. Most people can't do anything about their pension plan. And so get out of the market with the exception of gold and silver shares and wait it out. This is going to be very, very difficult. We had a rally like this in 1930, almost the same to the smallest detail. And we had another set of rallies in 1932, which were very similar. And so these are engineered. This is done by the Fed and the major brokerage houses. And they've been doing it over and over again for years and years. They were supposed to stop all of the recessions and depressions and panics. And, of course, they didn't do that. And so it's about time we get Congress to release from committee Ron Paul's 1207, the Federal Reserve Transparency Act, so that we can get rid of the